Cool to see. First map, Eye of Mizra.
Ooh, yay!
Gonna get a bit dusty in here.
I love Eye of Mizra is my favorite. The objective is to recover data keys from point A, B, and C and upload them to the space shuttle. And you know, the first key is usually going to be in the middle of the map over at B, and then where the rest spawn is up to you. You have to kill the key carrier in order for that key to disappear. So that's the tricky part. You want to give the key to someone who is either very survivable, like an Elysinus, or someone that flies very fast.
Sky Raider actually gets banned out, so they do focus down on Ray Kai's. All right.
No Narukami is interesting. No Sky Raider, so you gotta have a Falcon. Lumine is a great choice. We already have Hawami getting the Lumine on board. Aquila is a pick from Manbu. That is the sniper specialist I've been looking forward to seeing. And now we're just waiting for the final picks. A Falcon 2 from Ray Kaiser. That is his bread and butter, and mirrored on the other side. Again, you can carry that key very fast. You want to give that to Falcon or even a Lumine.
If you want to talk numbers, knowing the max, Falcon has about 90, 95 boost speed. No one is close to that. Not even Sky Raider can match that. Almost the second near that is Welkin. When clicking on single melee, Welkin can hit 45 to 50 boost speed. So if Falcon gets the key, if a Welkin, Illuminate can also consistently dash. If they have keys, that key is locked up. So it would be really awesome to see a kill strategy here coming in from either team to play within the points. If you know you're not getting it, play within the points, create a wall of strikers, and shut down the key as it escorts from point to point.
And getting burst to 100 points, by the way, to win the map. Kills also get you points. It's only one, though.
Yeah.
Uploading the key is how you're going to win. There is 3 ticks. Once you do get to the space shuttle, every tick is 5 points, and the full upload is 15, and you have to fully kill the striker in order for that key to disappear. So Elysinus, let's say the Elysinus carries it. If it gets unarmored, you have to fully eliminate that striker. That is difficult. Sometimes it may be just better to focus on the next key than to waste time chasing the key carrier. It all depends on where you stand in the game. But let's roll out Japan versus China, EXTRATRUN versus Celestial Being on Eye of Mizra.
A bit of cloud in the distance there. We'll see rolling in on the map. That will cause trouble in quite some time, and we'll get to that when it happens. But right now, it's about the battle. We see the key going to be spawning over there at C as it starts to tick up, but the middle of the map is where the fight starts off.
Yeah, Ray Kaiser, eye in the sky. Like that, these Stegos too are on some bit of elevations to try and pressure out these flyers, but also not let anyone get too comfortable. Now you got the Inferno lasering down, and again, not always just about kills, but forcing movement out of these heavy strikers that really do a lot more damage when they're immobile.
Big damage there. You can see coming in from the Hurricane, just flying in. There's the energy shield going in. All that green gas is from Welkin running around with his 3-on, trying to protect the team. But now that it's gone, they can wreak havoc.
Yeah, that first key is about to spawn, so these kills are going to start to matter more and more, where Celestial Being, TEAMCB, is already down 1, but just because the key is spawned doesn't mean you have to immediately grab it. You got to choose that window very carefully.
Oh, the chest beam coming out of the Inferno. We see multiple fights on our 3 fronts right now, and no, the point is actually being, like you said, kind of left alone for a moment in this fight in the back. Oh, could be a cap, though.
Oh, the Welkin box and multiple targets stuck in as we look through the eyes of the Tricera that gets to pump damage through. Welkin stops movement, but not range damage, and Mochi pairs with that beautifully, annihilating Celestial Being in these opening kills, and the key is still spawned, but you can only capture it when you have uninterrupted damage, so there's still some interruptions from CB that can come out.
Give me the key! So if the Welkin gets it, it's going to be a great grab. We see the Tricera there, but you're not going to get your heavy tanks to grab it. You get your Brawler Welkin, you get the Lumine, you get the Falcon, and you get out.
So 4-1 again.
Oh
Each kill is 1 point, so EXTRATRUN. It's going to take a while if they only do kills to get up to 100. But also, maybe the strategy is to actually just extend the kill timers, because every kill extends your respawn, and CB are suffering from that.
Just F. To pay respects, cap the point. Can it happen? Still fighting around this first point so long that the first one's going to spawn the second one already. This is really not something you see. C is usually already capped and the whole team is at A, but it's going to be split very early in the game, Lemon.
Yeah, you see how A is left alone, and it's inside of a building. It takes some time to get to. There's already one grabbing it. And remember, when someone gets a key, you have to escort it, but you're pinged on the entire map. Everyone knows you cannot sneak this by, and it will be Toby who's trying to get that key uploaded.
He stole it. He Welkenbach stole it. Somebody was right there with him. Look how fast he's moving to get it across. C is still open.
And
that hasn't even happened. It is capped. Beautiful job to get the points in. They're now up 21-8. And they're going to get a few more here as the rest of the points come through. Mochi getting a kill just to dwindle the numbers of CB.
15 points, but also EXTRATRUN may have just uploaded one too. They're only a couple points behind, and there's no key spawn, so this is just going to be a brawl until the next one goes down. And how you organize. You can look at the mini-map in the top left, EXTRATRUN in the blue, commanding the middle of the map, trying to disperse CB as they hide and fly around the perimeter.
Yeah, early B lock as well. You have your Stego there on the right, flying around a little bit. Tricera to the left, and that is the Bass Brothers comp of strikers you want getting to the point first. They can heal and they can shield.
Yeah, CB starting to surround, but can they divide and conquer? Looking through Marino, who's trying to coordinate the focus fire, but CB, 2 big kills, EXTRATRUN, set back. They were set up first near the key that was about to spawn, but CB, patience paying off.
Oh, he's over. We're trying to watch the Falcon now, do a little spiral down to keep eye on target in front. But it is just hectic at these points. It's almost like the other points have to spawn just to disrupt the fight.
Vita, our Inferno one trick, showing us what all the thousands of hours could do on the striker. And look how low EXTRATRUN are, and the key just hasn't been touched, and it's spawned up now. So these next couple kills, you gotta choose that window well. Is it gonna be a 6v3 that you wanna try and go for the objective for? But you can't be damaged while you claim that key.
That's the play. This feels good. You get a Welkin onto the Inferno and just close it down, but great movement there by Vita.
And there's that Corite Storm, so this is gonna, well, you can't tell who's an enemy and who's a friend. You can't lock on, and it is gonna burn some health. So this is chaos mode, especially when it's already so hard to group up.
No targeting. You can hear everybody trying to like ping something, look at something, but it is not. If you're Illuminae right now, it becomes very tough. It's just healing gas you're trying to put out for the rest of the team because you're not getting a target here in the Storm. And there's one kill going down, though. 2 members down for the side of CB is one extra turn. As B is just an all-out brawl.
I just like that Welkin that was spinning to win Marina. That was just trying to stop anyone from capping. And the way, you know, for y'all at home playing in the middle of the storm, the way you could tell an enemy of a friend, well, you can't do damage to your friends. If you see hits and hit markers, that's when you know you're shooting an enemy during this moment. But the storm only lasts about a minute, so it should be clearing up soon.
All right, so this is a huge combo. Welcome players, take note. The Inferno on the map is absolutely destroying 2B's chance to get these boxes right now. You need your energy shield, and you need the box to be able to cap it in front of an Inferno, or it's not happening.
Oh man, CB thought they were safe to go and claim the key. And there's still 6 minutes left. A lot of game to go. It's being claimed by Toby while the Welkin box is up. The key is grabbed. But the next objective is to actually go and upload it. And right on his tail is that Sky Raider, Ray Kaiser, an absolute menace, not allowing this fluid armor to survive much longer.
Oh, 2B so low, and he chose to go for the bottom door, not the top side. We know that speed for Welkin can get by his opponents, but he is gone. You called it. 38-29, 5 minutes left on this, and they are pulling each other back and forth.
Disgusting Welkin box at the door to stop that key carrier from getting out. I've never seen that. So gross, and now the Welkin is trying to disrupt and break down the composite shields of the Tricera. There's that resist. The invulnerability is so low. The focus fire from EXTRATRUN is beautiful.
Really coming together now that they aren't on the points. It's free map fight, and it seems like they start to really flourish when there isn't an objective. They can all focus on one thing, but they will split for C and move the Bass Brothers back over to that side, and Tricera and the Stego.
And CB got a lot of objective done. They had a lead, but because EXTRATRUN have been winning the neutral fights and killing, they're racking up a lot of points just from eliminations alone. And it continues. CB are getting staggered. and they're managing to try to get some fluid armor back up. Their health is regenerating thanks to their supportive strikers, but EXTRATRUN are so relentless.
Ray Kaiser with the damage on that, just in the box. Thank you very much, he says, with the alley-oop from the Welkin help. And wow, that is just Stego having to go into blue haze, recharge shields. You see what Ray Kaiser is doing on this Falcon right now. We just saw a kill come up on the feed from him, and he is absolutely making his opponents tear their hair out with this movement.
Yeah, Ray Kaiser just so mobile in the air, and he hasn't really been pressured because the Triceras are trying to disrupt the objective and also shoot through the Welkin box. And trying to break down that Welkin box, you can break it from the outside. It is very difficult, not with range damage, of course, but man, raining down Inferno through the Welkin box, and Manbu is just getting shredded by this energy damage.
One of the big, I mean, it's not Welkin versus Welkin, so you're not going to get your shield blasted by the emitter. You have to be ready with both of those combos. C is still ready to be grabbed here, but the Inferno, Veda just doing so much work.
This is so tough. CB are just not winning a lot of these fights, and now the key has been generated at point A, or is going to be generated at point A. C is currently active, and this could be what defines a strong lead for either team, because if you fully upload, it's 15 points, it's first to 100, and you see EXTRATRUN are nicely grouped up, but some good pings from CB to try and find some openings and some weaknesses in EXTRATRUN's fortress, but it will be Ray Kaiser that signals it's time to go for that A key. It's completely alone.
Yeah, breaking. Oh, he just stopped Toby from getting it. All right, this is going to be a fight. This is not good for Falcon, but they can usually stay alive on the top side of that. A big grab by the Welkin, however, on the left side.
Yeah, you can tell by the HUD at the top who has a key. Marima has almost 1/3 of the upload. A lead is growing for EXTRATRUN. Obviously not even near the end of the game, but CB are getting staggered. They're going to have to just give up on this key and focus on B coming up next.
All right, another tick of points there. This would be the exit if 2B goes up and out. They choose not to, though. They're waiting it. I mean, the speed of Welkin can easily surpass this, but they know there's a Stego right here. Just jump and click. Jump and click. Oh, no, it's not happening. He's getting stuck.
Oh, my God, and you're getting flashbang, too. It's just so bright out here. Back out in the open, though. A key carrier from CB is trying to make its way over to the console, and Toby will make it just with a sliver of health, but it's not over. You have to fully upload, and there's a central pillar, but he's boxed out by the Welkin.
They get some points back, 62 to 68 now with those kills coming in from Manbu. On the side, you can just see the Stego sitting on the mountain. Manbu right there. Throws him into the blue haze, shield recharge, and there's a bit of invis, a little hiding. And now they're back.
Great team coordination from EXTRATRUN, and it's a 5v5 currently with some people respawning. B key is about to unleash. Tricera and Stego from CB are stacked together.
Yeah, that's
this is a great power position overlooking the next key, and Ray Kaiser just can't get them to move.
So trying to focus the Inferno a little bit, but it's not happening. Just look at this. Absolutely shredding the tanks. You mentioned it before. This is Inferno's job, and right now Aruma's at work and getting work done. That was kind of tough.
And Welkin brings the dance floor, and trying to dodge him in such a tiny club is so difficult. 69 to 62. It is anyone's game. This next key is going to be deadly, and CB just aren't getting the numbers advantage to go for definitive key grabs.
Just under a minute left on this. A may be able to come up, but the time to get it to the ship, I don't think it's going to be there. B is the fight. B is the focus now, as it's an all-out brawl for this last kill. 7 kills could bring them up to 69, but they have to stave off any from EXTRATRUN.
Yeah, it may just be about killing right now and extending those timers, or even just outliving the last 26 seconds as IHZ flies around Toby on this Welkin, trying to protect themselves and play around the pillar, and CB are so low and they can't afford to die. But up in the sky is Aruma and Ray Kaiser letting it rain. 70 to 62 with less than 10 seconds left.
Oh, the kills are still going in the favor of EXTRATRUN here. They know it doesn't have to be capped, so they are just punishing the positioning of CB at every turn. And that is going to be a heck of an Aya Mizra matchup, timing out in favor of EXTRATRUN.
Wow. Japan takes map number 1
huge.
by only 10 points. We have the best matches, Riv. This is just day 1, and this is how good our teams are. In Eye of Misery, you saw even with the storm how composed everybody stayed, and sometimes it's just about stalling things out, go for kills, and wait for the perfect moment to go for the key grab. And even some moments where everyone thought that the key was left alone, you tried to go for a sneaky cap, and there's someone chasing you down.
Yeah, really well played in those situations. I think a lot of the combinations from Veda was huge, but the caps had already happened, right? The Inferno, it needed to happen a little bit earlier within 7 points. Only 7, or like 10 points at the end. But yeah, that was an incredibly close match. It could have gone either way. First map, I should say, as we get onto our next one. It's now going to be that pick of Celestial Being, and I don't think this is like a loss for them. They have to feel comfortable. I think both teams still feel comfortable. That's just that, okay, they beat us by a few points. Let's bring it back to them on the second map and go to the third.
And why some people, Sky Raider is such an interesting pick because it's more disruptive than Falcon. Falcon gives you that information with the scan, but Sky Raider has a lot of fields to try and deny energy damage and just damage overall. And you saw just how relentless Sky Kaiser was at just surrounding the tanks and trying to force those Stegos to move. Because that's the big win condition. Again, it's not always about killing Ultra Heavies, but to make them uncomfortable.
Make them uncomfortable and have to search for you, right? I can't stand here, make the Tricera move, up, down, up, down. It's really just giving them a hard time because they can't be uprooted. You have to just be a bug in their ear, and that was a really nice job. MVP, I don't know. I think it might be this. I think it might be Rai. Oh, or Kiwami. Inferno was kind of crazy, but that was more Veda we were watching doing the damage.
I like that Ray on that Sky Raider. Just we haven't got to see.
I think that's most of them going.
Yeah, that's where I'm going, just because being able to fly by and bomb everyone was hilarious to watch. So he gets the funny clap from me. Just
salvo
that was very
after
funny.
Salvo.
But yeah, the just being an ultra heavy is such a thankless job that we're probably never gonna see a Tricera MVP because your job is so important, but you're not as flashy as everyone else, you know?
This is true. This is true. Palm Bay Harbor is kind of where Tricera can lock that in. But otherwise, I think you're right. It's tough for Tricera to get anything on the objectives, on being able to get that with the kills, because everybody else is like, hey, you've weakened him for me. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, howitzer for him, actually for Tricera. Sometimes you'll see people just kind of get stunned in midair. That's probably Tricera. Firing a gigantic howitzer at that person could happen about 2 or 3 times, and it is very painful. A lot of the long-range attacks pack quite a big punch, I would say, on top of just having those the Gatling guns that you can spin up.
Yeah, and we're just waiting for our map pick from Celestial Being to see. Well, the loser gets to pick the map. It's best of 3, and they can go anywhere and everywhere except where we just went.
Where we just went. So what do you have for stats? Who's looking great? Who's looking good? And we will see EXTRATRUN's Marino on Welkin with 1.15 milli damage, but he also took 3.6 million right in the middle of the fight all the time.
So much damage from Zero as well.
Yeah.
This was a grueling match. I feel like most of the points came from kills. We did see at least 3 keys uploaded, but I've been looking forward to see how the pros approach games like this. As our MVP's a Welkin.
MVP's a Welkin. Go figure. No, but the damage taken, I think, is absolutely incredible. You were the focus. You were getting in the face of your opponent and absorbing all of that damage. 30 upload there, so a huge factor in the reason they had the lead that they did. And yeah, you can't. Welkin's always going to be doing some damage. Welkin ain't something to mess with.
And our teams are coordinating what our next map is going to be. And being all in person is so incredible too. I'm sure these teams haven't probably even met. Like, I feel like a lot of online teams, for a lot of players here, this is their first esport. So to show up in a LAN environment like this, to meet your teammates for the first time, to be in such an incredible venue like this is awesome to see. So looking forward to where CB want to take us to next.
Get him, Marino. That top-down attack. You can actually see Melee's doing that quite a bit here as we watch the highlights. A top-down attack is unparryable. You will always hit over your opponent. The thing is, is jumping and attacking just to get that can gas you very fast. So you have to be careful that when you actually want that stun, when you want to carry through with how many swings it is. I think Elysinus is a 4 swing with his lance.
Yeah.
Welkin is a 3 swing. It's good to know that so you're not over-clicking and just kind of keeping yourself in the fight for no reason. If you stop your clicks, that next one will charge at your opponent. So it is very paced in playing.
Yeah, and just to know how to min-max your damage, like the combos you were even teaching me about the Elysinus combo of the 4 hits, dash back, press 2, go, like, and then it's so good. And then the animation cancels, and a lot of these strikers have ranged and melee moves, so it's cool to kind of decide when you want to brawl up close, when you want to poke, and who you're poking too.
Dia and I had our mind blown earlier. We were watching a Falcon on Karab Sinkhole, and to get elevation, he did a top loop and canceled it.
Whoa.
Just so he gained like 10 feet elevation and stopped instead of finishing the loop. It was just the speed at which they can articulate the striker and make things happen is incredible.
I'm so glad this is not a first-person game or a VR game because the loop-de-loops on Falcon would make me throw up. And I mean, I kind of want to throw up still, and it's in third person. So shout out to all the Falcon mains and the Sky Raider mains. Anybody who flies, you're doing it. You're doing the Lord's work out
I'm knocking
there.
the third eye on that one. All right.
Palm Bay.
Palm Bay Harbor. What will the bans be? I want ban, Stego, and Tricera on either side, and then just we brawl.
And then
there's no way to hide.
Because you know what a Tricera's job is? To sit.
To hang out.
Sit pretty on the payload. And who protects that Tricera? The Stego. And who's helping them? Probably Illuminate. But kind of the people around that is what is giving the identity to some of these teams. There's people who like Panther. There's people who like Falcon or Sky Raider. There's snipers. So there's what's going to be around the payload is what's interesting me.
I think we've seen Aquila be very effective here. We still haven't really seen teams been able to lock in the Aquila-Falcon matchup, which allows Aquila to basically see through the walls and hit targets that they want to hit. It's kind of broken. And if you're getting hit by an energy laser through a wall, that's why.
And this is some time where you get to talk to your teammates about what are you going to ban. There's almost some teams that came in with a game plan. I've been hearing some teams that are almost overthinking it, overcooking, and experimenting, which I guess this is the time to do it when you're still in the upper side of the bracket. Maybe you don't want to reveal all your cards, but these are official matches now. These are no longer scrims. You got to go what you prepared with, and if you want to throw teams for a loop, go for it.
I'm still very impressed, even though they lost with Veda's Inferno. I think it was something that EXTRATRUN doesn't want to mess with, but do you drop an Inferno from Palm Bay? Because part of me says yes, because you can absolutely burn the tanks. So it might leave a Tricera or a Stego open for that ban.
I would almost leave all these tanks, at least if you're Ray Kaiser's team, because his Sky Raider was raining down hell on these grouped up tanks. Yeah. So I'd almost like let them because it worked if you're EXTRATRUN. So we'll see what the bans are, if it's going to be more tank oriented or ultra heavy oriented, or if it's going to be towards what are the key players around it, like the snipers, Panthers, even the Welkins. I mean, the Welkin got MVP last game, so.
Yeah, I think Sky Raider is a good pick here because what you're going to say, like 65, 70% of the map is outside. They're only kind of gimped on that inner part. And you still see Sky Raiders flying inside, going through the hallways, no problem. They're good enough. So, yeah, definitely a pick to come out here as we go on to Palm Bay Harbor. It is going to be the double payload race here. You have 3 points, A, B, and C, that will help move your payload forward quickly after capturing those points. It will be a battle for each one, and A will open up shortly after the map starts. That Inferno ban is gone, and it's actually from CB themselves as Aquila on the other side.
So we were talking about whether it was going to be those ultra heavy, at least the ones that are going to sit on the carts. No, it's the key players around it. One sniper gone, one anti-tank striker gone, and we'll see what the reaction is. We got an Elysinus pick that is unique to me. Lumine Sky Raider from EXTRATRUN. We got a Sky Raider mirror, but a Narukami. We don't get to see this every day.
We don't, and I think Ray Kaiser just figured out what target he has to start going for. Oh, we do get the Sky Raider again, and you're right. Narukami is going to be coming out. We'll keep an eye on Mambu, trying to be on top. Another one for Narukami that loses a portion of the map. It's very hard for Naru to go inside anywhere on B or anytime the payload moves through that small area because you are squishier than a leaf, okay? That's tough.
Just going to blow away in the wind.
Just blow away in the wind.
And Hurricane, that is also something that is not super common. At least it's the masters of Hurricane play it and the other ones don't. You know, it's not a hard meta pick.
It's so true. We're seeing a lot more Inferno in that sense, but Hurricane still has a lot of really awesome things. The drones that they use will attack, as well as drones they can set out as decoys that if you're a striker trying to attack a Hurricane, you will instantly lock onto a decoy in your attack. That wasted time is so big for Hurricane to reposition and just start doling out the damage. So a lot of trickery can be done by a Hurricane at the high level.
Yeah, definitely check out Caldian if you want to learn more about Hurricane. He was telling me all about how the Hurricane doesn't have to necessarily stack with the rest of your team, but almost be away, so the decoys pull the range damage away. So it's an anti-range striker, as you pointed out. Extra Turn versus CB for map number 2. Extra Turn taking map 1, one step closer to moving on in the rounds.
Will it be the high ground again? Yeah, they go just over towards B. Oh my God, they're fighting down the railway. They're just straight up fighting on the same platform here. They don't even go for the high ground. That's going to be for the snipers as we start off. And they trade a bit of damage. You see Tricera being able to see all of those missiles and take them out on the way in and surface to air.
Ooh, Ray Kaiser back on his main, just stacking in, and it's just going to be a slow burn. And you don't have to immediately go for the enemy, but maybe you could see these flyers try to take some flank angles, some off angles, but you want to do it in a moment where it's most chaotic, when you're not going to be paid attention to, because you also still want to be accessed by your Luminae.
There's one of the decoys. You'll see those golden triangles kind of be placed out in the air. Not those are missiles by the Hurricane, and that's what is really giving the enemy team some trouble. Watching Sky on that Raider. Oh.
Tricera and Stego, those are going to be the bestest of friends. And you see your Welkin just spinning in all the lights and colors.
Get him!
An even match. I think it's going to come down to the upcoming console, and it's currently halfway capped by Celestial Being.
I love the focus these teams have. What is it, like 6-6 on that right now? I don't think I've ever seen this with teams getting everyone on the point, fighting toe-to-toe.
Oh man, this is the Welkin showdown. I'm sure you'd be stoked. And this is a protective Welkin box to push everyone away. You see the Hurricane AoE yellow bubbles being put down to try and just damage all of these grouped up targets. That is the beauty of Hurricane.
Oh, there's the lasers from the Paracel as well. He just gets a bit onto the tanks. They are pushing back. Extra turn on this one, but still they're stepping forward to keep it on it. And it looks like it is the grab from Celestial Being in that last push to get a point.
Oh, so many low targets on Extra Turn. CB also just barely hanging on, but a decent lead now created from CB after that console grab, and that capture is what's accelerating the payload, and this is what's going to define who will win the map. But there's going to be some free push. You're not seeing too many enemy payload captures. It's more about moving your own, especially if you're CB. There's no pressure on you right now.
Yeah. Still Veda. Off the Inferno onto the Sky Raider this time, trying to do a bit of damage. The next point will be B, but it spawns in a certain amount of time, not just when the payload gets there. So they have time for this neutral fight, and we did see Extra Turn able to pull out a lot of neutral fights on the Iron Israel.
And this is the difficulty in not banning out a Tricera or a Stego.
Yeah.
These payloads are pretty untouchable, and you've taken out a lot of the playmakers, like, what do we have, Aquila and one of the flyers.
Inferno,
the Inferno. So there's limited options to try to get kills on these Triceras and Stegos.
Oh no, it looks like the front door is locked. You look at the minimap, blue is outside of B, red is inside of B. This needs to change immediately. They drop the roof off of this thing as well as they're fighting on top.
Marino is just letting it rain over on the top side, and the B console has spawned, and Celestial Being are halfway capped. An extra turn need to deny this. The Welkin is spinning to win, trying to disrupt the Stego, and all the AoE damage from the Hurricane is just not hindering this Welkin enough and probably assisting it. This is such a playground, a dance floor for a Welkin.
I just have to say, beautiful point fights for Palm Bay Harbor. A lot of times there's distraction, there's too many fights outside, and teams don't have a legitimate chance to go for these points, but they are pressuring each other to the max, to the brink to get these points. And again, it's Celestial Being that moves the payload forward.
Man, with these, with the Hurricane, you need sunglasses on because it's just yellow everywhere with all this energy damage. It's so insane. But a good lead still from CB, but Extra Turn is catching up. They are on their tail, and this has been a welcome show.
And this is a really good point in this one to show that if you're on your payload, if you're moving it, you can stay within a good percentage of your opponent, even if they cap all points. But it's going to have to change here for Extra Turn if they want to catch up.
Oh, Toby's trying to escape, and I think there's some protective Welkin boxes to allow that striker to get out. Fantastic teamwork from CB, and they're in the lead, and to be able to live is just denying any opportunity from Extra Turn to be able to come back.
Oh, they look so happy and just content right now. Both teams going to meet here as we get out to sea, and they've been relegated, not even relegated, but chosen to just move their payloads without the fight until we get back out into the open. A little bit of a skirmish here towards the top side, but I think everybody gets away from this with just a few scratches.
So and a reminder for anyone checking out this game for the first time, the payload will move on its own, but you need one member on it to move it a little bit faster. Yeah. So Tricera is very important to stay on there. Really anyone who can tank a lot of damage. But Extra Turn need to go for a big play. C is a must cap, and they are right on CB's tail, but above is Zero, trying to play his energy well, getting down to fumes though. This is going to be an important fight to define the map.
They are almost even on payloads as C is going. It looks like it's going to be Celestial Being that could actually go ahead and continue their lead, but it does not get capped right away. Now it's going to be Extra Turn with more on the point.
Yeah, with the Stego and the Triceras set up from Extra Turn, they will not let this go without a fight. They are fighting tooth and nail, and Extra Turn are halfway capped to C, and CB just need to contest it as much as they can, but they're down a member. Team CB are fighting this 5v6, and Extra Turn may just take the lead from the cap.
Incredibly rare to see two caps be switched at the third one. So much pressure just on the cart from Extra Turn the whole time has given them this opportunity, and now an opening to close the game.
Extra Turn were behind by 10 to 15%, and now they've taken the lead 20 more away from taking our map and the whole series against the fearsome Celestial Being from China. And now this Tricera, though, on the payload is having some trouble, but the Welkin is staggering and also having its lockdown disrupted, probably by a Sky Raider in the sky.
Very tough. This last leg is normally never stopped. You see, CB is having to give up actually the movement on their payload. It just started again, but the fight has to be the stop. It has to be the focus, and it draws all of your attention now towards the end of the map.
Celestial Being have to fight this 5v6 because they're keeping one on the cart, but they're sending all of their forces to the Extra Turn payload. It's do or die. 7% less for Extra Turn to win it all. And now they're protecting themselves. Look at all the AoE damage. Celestial Being cannot approach. They barely have fluid armor. They barely have their legs under them. A few more percent to go. And Extra Turn, though, they're losing bodies. It's a turnaround!
It's being walked back. Wait, they're on the payload. They're able to move it back now because they're on their opponent's payload, but nobody's moving the one from CB. So it's slowly crawling forward right now.
It's not over. Now this progress from Extra Turn is diminishing, and Celestial Being have to also push their own payload. It's Extra Turn on respawn, gonna want to go after Celestial's payload or their own. The lead is being swapped!
There's enough! They've wiped 4 members right now of Extra Turn, and they're gonna actually bring it back. I have never seen the last leg be turned around on Palm Bay Harbor.
What an absolute clutch from Celestial Being. Respawns are back from Extra Turn to contest this, but you have to fully wipe Celestial Being to deny the inevitable. We're going to map 3.
What an incredible series from these two squads. Japan versus China. absolutely duking it out to the last drop, and we are going to get your third map here between these two teams.
Sweaty.
Holy macaroni. Yeah, I'm feeling it.
The most insane map we have watched all
That was
day,
so
probably
sick.
of the whole tournament. And this is just the beginning. And this, I think, is going to define, is China or Japan on top in this tournament? And now it's hard to say. What a comeback.
The hurricane play at the end there. It was flashed up, everything, like literally pushed out of the fight, but that early damage wiped almost every tank off of EXTRATRUN's payload, and then that fierce push coming in from the slow payload was just enough to keep it in range for somebody to cap it and bring it all the way home. Goes to show you Palm Bay Harbor is never over.
The most exciting map, and just game type too, to be able to reverse the progress.
Holy.
Being at what, 98, 95%?
98, you didn't get the first two caps, you were losing all the fights, third cap, and then it still goes through to them.
And we have players watching the stream and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the games next to
It
us,
is
and
loud.
they're freaking out too. I
So
can't even
fun.
imagine what y'all are feeling at home. It is electric here in Zhuhai, China, and we're going to map 3. It'll be EXTRATRUN's pick to decide that.
I got to see the hurricane damage on that game, and I might even say Hurricane Mecha, because that was incredible.
Yeah.
That is some hype. Looking at how the end of that map works, as I said, if you have not gained the last leg and are 10% behind, your focus cannot be on your own cart. But they actually were able to divvy up the forces on their side of Celestial Being perfectly to make sure they could stop EXTRATRUN. I really can't state how hard and difficult it is to uproot a Stego and a Tricera from their payload at the end of the game.
Without an Inferno.
Without an Inferno.
To do it with Hurricane.
just doing the bit of energy that you needed and the perfect amount.
Hurricane believers rise up. You were right.
Seriously,
okay?
what is
the one
this?
tricks are we're banging their heads against the wall, telling you Hurricane is viable. Hurricane can be played. Everyone's like, no, Inferno.
I was unfamiliar with your game.
I was unfamiliar with your game, and
Sorry.
also just how much electricity was on the field because of that Hurricane, the AoE to dislodge those tanks, to punish that grouping, and they had a game plan. CB had a game
Crazy.
plan.
That was a crazy matchup. I can't even wait to see the damage numbers. We still have an MVP on that matchup, and we still have another one to go, which now EXTRATRUN is going to have to figure out where they want to go. And we've had Palm. Do we duke it out, or do we get our first crop single? Is it Graceline's Sky City?
I hope so. So, because we've been banning a lot of the Aquilas, a lot of the,
That's
I guess,
true.
DPS strikers. So, I want to see what they could do on a Graceland Sky City.
Could be Cape. Cape would be a brawl too, but I don't know.
See if you got the
they
crystal
want
ball on
caps.
that one. You've been pretty good at sniping those.
It's Cape. It's Cape.
It's Cape?
Cape
Okay,
one. I'm
okay.
guessing Cape.
We'll see if he's downloaded it.
Downloaded. All right, perfect.
Rigged. I already know chat's saying rigged. Because nobody is telling us in our ears what's going on. We're just guessing. Oh, we also have to guess the MVP. I would say it's the Hurricane.
I wanted to say Hurricane too. Let's see the stats from that matchup. Who is left and who is right? Haruma. Spitting out the fire. Very nicely done.
Wow.
And then we have both of them actually get that.
Is it weird to you that there's, I don't know if this is right, but there's like barely any kills on the EXTRATRUN side?
Yeah.
It's just been Disruption City.
Let me see. Zero doing how much? About 1.1 there. Tons of damage from the Hurricane. Inferno on the other side, quite a bit of damage as well. So I actually feel, I can't actually tell.
Hurricane, I mean, the 4-0 from Vita, the Hurricane one trick. He is spreading the gospel. It's the Tricera. The thankless job of, I told you, I never thought a Tricera was going to get an MVP, and Zex proves me wrong.
Yeah.
To survive as long as he did, 1 million plus damage, you're sitting pretty when he's on your team.
He's feeling good. He's like, yeah, I am shielded. I am Zex.
I'm chilling.
But it is, like, to do that correctly as well, a Tricera can be kind of gamed out of that situation. If you're not being a mobile Tricera, because you do need to get up, get back down, get up, get back down, but position that so you're not getting stuck in corners and getting absolutely obliterated. So you still have to choose the right fights. Mainly the right fight is every fight, but there's there's a margin for error.
Wow, Toby was farming on the Welkin,
Oh
too.
my god, I love it.
Boxing his own payload and just spinning everywhere. Are you happy if there's multiple targets in your Welkin box, or are you prefer one?
Yeah, actually I feel like it helps me, even if it's 2 melees, because you flash and then you disrupt your shield, so you parry any of what Panther or Elysinus would want to do, and then you just start spinning. But the thing is you're not going to kill both of those, so when the box drops, you need to leave. It's not like that's a finisher. You need to leave.
Yeah, and the beauty of EXTRATRUN having that Elysinus being best friends with the Welkin. Krob Sinkhold, he's got the crystal ball.
I was wrong.
Oh.
It's a little cracked. I said Krob, but then I chose Cape.
You doubted yourself. Got to go with your gut.
I know. But we get our first Krob Sinkhole of the day, and it is going to be very similar to what a lot of people know in capture games. It is A, B, and C, and you're going to have to divvy up your team perfectly to know which point is a priority or hold the 2 that you have. What do we got for bans?
Falcon and Hurricane. Yeah, I would ban the Hurricane too after that. I'm not going to lie. Because when you have to capture the points, it is going to be a lot of heavies sitting on those main objectives. The middle one, B, being the most important. I feel like it's a power position to be able to have the middle of the map because it's hard to avoid it. And the Falcons are going to be the ones that buzz around the map. So are we going to get some more Sky Raiders? That's what I'm worried about. I see Ray Kaiser. That's his bread and butter. Some Elysinus. Now that the Hurricane is banned from Vita, he's going to have to show how deep his striker pool is.
Luminae? Okay, we have Luminae from Wami on there. I only saw Ans, and I was like, one healer to no healer gets very scary, especially on crowd when you need your team. But you mentioned the air superiority. That's going to be big. And interesting again, or not interesting, but Ray Kaiser loves that Sky Raider so much. A little bit slower play, but more damage focus, being able to drop that salvo on the Tricera, the Welk, and the Stego, who are all sitting pretty together, taking a bit of AoE damage. We are locked in, ready to go. Our first Krob Sinkhole of the day as map 3 between EXTRATRUN and Celestial Being.
Yep. The mirrors being Luminae, Welk, and Tricera, Stego. The differences, Inferno versus Aquila, Sky Raider versus Elysinus. So that's what we have to watch out for. Now that the Inferno is not banned out, this is going to be their responsibility to really melt down all the heavies. While the Aquila wants to snipe down the heavies, you can either poke it down that way. The Elysinus, a lot of stall potential on these points to be able to duke it out. The Luminae, of course, both teams having a healer is going to help survivability. But Ray Kaiser, you can't deny what he's able to do with the Sky Raider.
It's this kind of play, I think. I don't think Falcon switched to Sky Raiders, but I think could get more Sky Raiders in the mix overall when we see this in tournaments, because it is super effective. It'll be interesting to see if they ever draw a ban, if it ever gets that severe. We started off going for point A. It has not spawned just yet here. You can see everybody flying in. The minimap will be big on this one because you can flank from the sides and you can drop down to the water, so knowing where people are is incredibly important.
And the perimeter points, B and C, won't spawn for a little while, so it's going to be everyone duking it out for A. It's first to 1,000, so we got a lot of capture to go, and that ticks right up. And honestly, you don't want to go for all 3 caps unless you're Giga Chad like that. 2 caps is all you really need.
Oh, the shields go up. The cap, yeah, they cap the point rather. Easy stuff. So now it's about the fight. B and C will come up soon, so we go ahead for more of a neutral fight again. And now blasted there, but flashed away. And Stego hiding in the haze right now. Marino has to be careful.
And that's just the chaos that Sky Raider brings, being able to smoke out everything, maybe allowing Welkin to spin to win and not be punctured at a distance. And 2 quick kills secured from EXTRATRUN as CB have to recollect themselves. They do have A captured. EXTRATRUN, it's going to be difficult to rip them from their grasp, and now these perimeter points B and C are spawned.
Oh, they're flying right to it too. It's going to be a huge battle between these two. What is that, Elysinus? There's a few of them in there. That's what it is. Looks actually Welkin going down for a moment. Yeah, capping the point, easy peasy. So now A and C are capped. The big thing here would be keep these 2 points and not worry, but they have to fight for A right away.
Yeah, survivability is so key for this map. But if you're able to extend the kill timers, that's always big. Welkin is going to be the most important striker on this, already forcing the Tricera to get out. Toby, one of the most impressive Welkin players we have at this Invitational, and the B is still left uncapped, but it's CB doubling the score right now.
Yeah, unless you see low health, Welkin becomes just as much of a disruptor as a Falcon, as an Elysinus diving in. You go in, you go out. Oh, the hurricane damage trying to fire through and clear a point. That's Inferno, rather, sorry. As they do more even through the Welkin box and break that down, as they cannot protect that A side.
Oh, second point captured from CB, doubling the score again, and it's only gonna get worse. Each take is about 3 points if you have one zone. If you have two zones, it's 6 points. But if you somehow capture all three in your ranked games, guys, it could be 10 points per tick, and it can end very, very quickly.
Whoa.
Look at all the kills from CB2. This is disgusting.
Everybody is respawning, basically. This is tough. You get Mochi back in 2. That's not going to be a problem. It's still going to be tough, though. There's the 3 you were talking about. 242 already to 96. The third map is getting out of control for Celestial Being.
10 points ticking up fast. EXTRATRUN need to just wake up. I don't know what happened. Maybe the last map has really boomed them.
Yeah.
I was not expecting EXTRATRUN to go down like this.
I mean, look at your minimap coming out the top side. They finally get C, but 4 are transferring to C right now. You already have that point. It needs to be calmed that the point was being taken. A should have already had 3 members of EXTRATRUN on it, but still, they're outside the map, and they're nowhere near capping anything.
Oh, is this going to be like our first, quote, reverse sweep, I guess, in a best of 3? I don't know.
It is.
Celestial Being in the driver's seat. Hey, at least EXTRATRUN, you got to start walking before you run. You collect C, and do they go for B? You could secure the perimeter, have everyone stay in the middle. You can only defend so much at once. Maybe CB's priorities will be split between both points, but Marino is having issues staying alive. Barely any armor left, but also being able to regenerate it somewhat, but taking fire from Triceras and everyone around him.
Flashed up, gassed up, boxed around. Can they get themselves out of this? I think everyone's fighting at B right now, though. This is usually an A situation. We can only see one person over there on the minimap, so this is the all-out brawl to try and change the game. 400 points down is EXTRATRUN.
Yeah, for EXTRATRUN to put pretty much all their eggs in the A basket or the B basket and only collect it now is hurting them. There's a 1v1, I believe, happening around C. EXTRATRUN have a member over there while all the attention is elsewhere, but that 1v1 is not resulting in a cap, and EXTRATRUN are desperately needing that.
Oh. Veda turns, actually wants to go for the fight. Just looked at a point that they could cap, but doesn't even worry about it. They said 2 is fine, and now they can focus the fight. And I actually think once you have such a lead, don't stretch yourself thin on 3. Hold the 2, and you can divide your forces better.
Oh, and for EXTRATRUN to have their Inferno of all players be at C and not win that 1v1, you were desperately needed in the war that was happening at B, which I'm sure had all the heavies that Inferno needed to deal with. So 1 capture for EXTRATRUN, but 740 to now pretty much CB tripling the points. From turning around our payload map in map 2 to potentially taking the whole series, Celestial Being is built differently. Yeah,
built Celestial, if you will. And they are being absolutely masterclasses at their strikers right now. 8-18, just looking to distract here. Take off the point. They're really not committing to these fights, right? They're just being like gnats, flies. They come out, they annoy you, and then they go back and hide, and you're forced to try and cap the point.
Yeah, just maybe the game plan for EXTRATRUN, the problems were in the macro department.
Yeah.
Just splitting themselves between C and B and not taking any W's. It was a 1v1 at C that took way too long to cap, to CB getting a triple capture while EXTRATRUN were physically and probably metaphorically, mentally boomed. This was EXTRATRUN that fumbled a series win that they should have had on the payload, to CB coming back, tripling, quadrupling the score, triple capturing. Insane win from Celestial Being.
And really wild to look at kind of how the maps have played out today. We see that Krob Sinkhole played first time in Game 7 because it requires a lot of coordination. Teams aren't going to this map right away because if you play somebody who has an idea, their win condition set, they know what they want to do, it can end just like this.
I can't believe it. China takes the series over Japan, one of Japan's best at that. And Japan was looking like a region so incredibly stacked coming into this tournament. Of course, Anubis, coming from Japan, is the #1 team favored for the whole tournament. They've been crushing everyone. But everyone from Japan is looking powerful. I was coming into this thinking EXTRATRUN were going to win, especially with how this series started, with Celestial being never stopped fighting and never stopped giving up.
Really awesome play throughout. We see a little bit of why, like you said, the Hurricane is viable in this. And it actually didn't require too much assistance. Veda was playing a pretty solo, but off to the side Hurricane avoidance for himself, getting back in and not really requiring assistance from the team other than what heals would have been coming naturally from your healer. So really incredible play there, and a VOD to watch for sure for Hurricanes.
The most exciting match. I've never seen a payload just reverse at 95%.
That was cool.
The turnaround, and
I'd be surprised to see when we even get a game like that again.
I don't think we're ever going to see a moment like that ever again. Celestial China now, I think, is going to be the region to watch, but will they be able to contest a team like Anubis, who took such a powerful win today?
Yeah.
But we haven't even talked too much about North America, because they're coming up next, and they're a region sort of underrated, underestimated, due to just not having as much experience in the game compared to everyone else, but they've been also grinding.
Right. Definitely some gamers, content creators on the team, but that doesn't mean bad. Content creators are looking to make content. They have been playing for quite a while, and they know exactly what they need to do on their strikers, playing before they came, even for hours and hours on end. I was watching a few of them on stream, and they are digging it. So it'll be cool to see what we have from Team Liquid and DSG. That was incredible. To follow up on EXTRATRUN and Celestial Being is going to be very tough, though.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this interview, because you just saw how excited everyone was on the cameras to be able to turn around that payload map to just, at the end, EXTRATRUN getting a little boomed. You saw in that final map.
I think so.
Just that you never see. I didn't think I was going to see a triple cap in a pro game.
Yeah, they triple capped, and I love the fact that we actually saw one of them deny triple capping again. B was open. He's like, no, I'll go to A. It's the more sound decision. So really cool seeing that thought process happen, where they freely had a cap on B for another triple, and they're like, 2's good now.
Just EXTRATRUN could not get back on their feet.
No, they could not.
It's not over.
Who do you
have
think
a bad day.
MVP? Who do you think had a great day?
That's a hard one. Now that the Inferno was unleashed, I'm sure the Inferno had a heyday. But maybe the Inferno, maybe the Welkin players. The Welkin players got to just have so much fun.
Welkin.
I knew you were going to get so excited.
I'll probably choose Welkin on any cap point maps, just because it's a solid decision.
Give it to Elysius.
Kills and objectives, your man is doing everything in that.
What about Elysius? I'm sure Elysius did something.
Yeah.
They probably did something. It was so hard to watch everybody at once in the clouds of Sky Raider smoke and the Welkin spinning the boxes and everything.
Sky Raider smoke, Stego smoke, Welkin smoke. Yeah, it's easy to decipher because they're blue and green and you know what's happening when it is, but it can get into your face and kind of not allow you to see your enemies right around you for a moment until you break through the fog. So what do we got, Lemon? This is 2-1. CB takes it with Tuobi there, 10.5 score. Jeez.
You saw the power of how much Hawami had to heal on the Lumine, trying to get EXTRATRUN organized with how much damage they were taking from Celestial Being. There's a lot on these supportive strikers, and you see how much less stress Anne had to be on the other side of Lumine. When everyone's alive, you don't have to heal too much.
Wait, 370? Just about half. That actually tells an entire story, because we hardly saw anybody from CB respawning. EXTRATRUN, you looked in the corner of the map and there were 2 or 3 dots dropping almost all the time to try and soar back in. And important to note, when you respawn on Karab Sinkhole, you spawn in a bit of a chasm off the map, and you have to fly into the map. It takes a good amount of time. So there, beyond your spawn retimer, you are still losing a bit of time to get back into the battle.
MVP Welkin.
Let's go!
And this makes so much sense because I noticed at the end of our stats page, the direct damage that Celestial being delivered was double. I think it was like 280,000, which tells me a lot that Welkin does a lot of that direct damage, right? It's got to be Toby.
Through. That's the Battle Axe. Tool will be coming in with the Welkin 4-0 and 5-2. A lot of times you will stay deathless on crop sinkhole